And Jesse Lee Herndon says, Matt, doing all of this data input of old issues of Cerebus has sprung up a number of questions in my mind. Perfect for asking on Please Hold. So I will attempt to stump the AV progenitor with these riddles 3. Hi Dave. 3 questions for July. I think these questions are going to be for August now. This is one of the things that we have to work on. You can't just keep throwing please hold questions for Dave all the way through July, and then go, oh, okay. So now we put up the please hold for August. Now we can start throwing questions at him again on August 3rd. I think we have to put a cap on this, Matt. I don't know what the cap would be, but probably in length of time. It's I'm willing to answer the questions, but part of the idea was to have one day a month when I was answering questions from anyone about anything, and then the rest of the month I have to myself, and that's not happening this way. So that's doubling back to Michael R. That's not positive new news on the phone fax situation, but we will get this figured out. 3 questions for July. One, we've seen pictures of you at cons with the likes of Will Eisner and Jack Kirby. You've interviewed multiple greats in the Canar days, corresponded with Steve Ditko, and even employed Jerry Siegel for a brief time. Was there any comic creator you never got to meet or interact with during your time in the industry that you lament not doing so with? Okay, well, first answer to your question is I'm standing in the Superman entryway to the off-White House, called such because it's got a framed letter from Jerry Siegel, January 12th, 1984, 11928 Darlington Avenue, apartment 102, Los Angeles, California. And just talking about a few of his projects. I have several projects in script form. Among them is The Fabulous Misfits, a satire on superhero comics. The scripting is as wacky as some of the zany scripting I wrote for Mort Weisinger. When fans write letters about Weisinger stories, they don't seem aware that I wrote a number of them, which are considered classics. I can either send you the script for the Fabulous Misfits graphic novel for your consideration, or slightly alter the beginning of the Misfits graphic novel into a series of unique stories, continued episodes, scripts. 4 4-paged episodes would cover the introduction of all the lead characters, revealing in action comedy sequences how they got their strange powers, and the 4 episodes would end at the point where a Fabulous Misfits comic book could carry on the story if the readers liked the super lunacy. Or you could do the entire graphic novel in some other format if you wished. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, this is 40 years ago, and definitely Jerry Siegel wasn't at the peak of his powers, but at least get the script from him, read the script, and go, okay, what can I do with this? In terms of basically what I'm doing with Ben Dunn on the crossover, which is okay. Here's Ben's script, but are you willing to let me mess around with this and hopefully improve it? Because I think I can do eye candy effects, and I can do nifty little transitions and innovative story sequences, and goose it up to the next level. I think one of the problems was that we were all too reverent about Jerry Siegel. If it's a Jerry Siegel script, you either accept the script or you reject it. But it's Jerry Siegel. You don't mess with it. It's like, well, I think between being rejected and having his work manipulated, I'm pretty sure I know what Jerry Siegel would have opted for in 1984. Another project of mine is my graphic novel in script form, Zongala the Ultroid. I think it is unique. Again, I use the scripting technique of the mags you found interesting enough to collect. Zongala and his friends slash foes are quite far out. The victimized Zongala and his newfound criminal pals become buccaneers in a far future era where justice is a travesty. Okay, I think that's anticipating where we were headed. Zongala reforms and battles the vengeful attack of his enraged, awesome-powered former buddies. Bizarre, exciting visuals. I could adapt the opening part of Zongala into a unique story series with possibilities of continuing Zongala in a comic book of his own. Or it could begin as its own comic book, if that interests you. Or it could be a graphic novel album. Another of my favorite projects is my graphic novel, which is in script form. Red Death versus the Life Queen. Love and hate between two weird-powered androids of the opposite sex. It's kind of bizarrely sexy, but if it ever gets published, I think comics fans will remember it as an offbeat classic. One of my favorite scenes in it is of Red Death and Life Queen making love in a sort of primordial jungle. They are so engrossed in each other that they ignore giant dinosaur-like beasts who are locked in a death struggle nearby. Now that is love. And it's like, it already exists, Dave. Just write him a letter and say, yeah, send me Zongala. I want to take a look at this. So major regret that with all that Jerry Siegel did for comics and for comic fans and for the comic book medium, I just didn't have the time in my chasing skirts and getting drunk and smoking pot schedule to fit in Jerry Siegel. So bad on me. Let me see. Frank Brunner is someone that I don't think I ever met, and I would definitely have liked to have worked with Frank Brunner just because of the link to Howard the Duck. With Howard the Duck doesn't exist, or Cerebus doesn't exist without Howard the Duck, and Howard the Duck doesn't exist without Frank Brunner and Steve Leialoha. So it would have been very nice to have done a Cerebus crossover story or a Cerebus a crossover story or a jam story that's what I'm thinking of. That would have been with, as an example, the Duccaneer from Quack number 1. It's Howard the Duck. We all know that it's Howard the Duck, but you can't call it Howard the Duck because Marvel owns Howard the Duck. So here's the same guys that did Howard the Duck, the best guys that did Howard the Duck, in my view. And here they are doing the Duccaneer crossover with Cerebus. That would have been a very satisfying thing to have had happen, and that didn't happen. Alex Toth. I would have loved to have worked with Alex Toth. That wouldn't have worked because he's such an idiosyncratic artist that if Alex Toth was doing a story, Alex Toth was going to do the story. I can't really picture him ever doing a jam story with anybody, but certainly if he had ever considered doing a jam story, 5, 6 pages or something like that. You do the story, you leave room for Cerebus, and I'll stick Cerebus in. Or you can do Cerebus if you feel like doing Cerebus. Basically what happened with Barry Windsor Smith. By the time that I met Alex Toth and had a chance to socialize with him a bit, he was definitely in his terminal creator's block phase where it was like pulling teeth to get anything onto the page that he was satisfied with and move forward with it. So it was never going to happen. But if there had been an ideal time period when Alex Toth was just naturally productive, and he was a Cerebus fan at one point. If we could have done something at that time, that would have been great. In a more general sense, pretty much anybody would be interesting to meet and interact with during my time in the industry that you lament not doing so with. Just about anybody would be in that category in the sense of if they have a positive impression of Dave Sim or had a positive impression of Dave Sim and of Cerebus and went, yeah, I'd like to work with Dave Sim. Anything could be interesting from the underground guys to newspaper strip guys. We're all up to our eyeballs in work, and we always have been. But it's always interesting to fit in side projects like this, where you just go, well, okay, let me brush up on this. And do you want to start, or am I going to start? I mean, I can rough in a first page and send it to you, and then we'll see where that takes you. Or you can rough in a first page and send it to me, and we'll see where that takes me. And bottom line, in reductio, we got this far. We came to a fork in the road, and you went this way and I went that way. But we still have this work that we did together. If you want to do something with that and go off in your own direction and finish it your way, you go ahead and do that. If I want to go off in my own direction and finish it my way, I'll do that. Let's just keep any acrimony out of this, and let's just agree we're not going to be acrimonious about this. We're gonna do this together, start it together, and finish it together, or start it together and finish separately. Either one of those, I think, is a win-win, both for the creators involved and for the fans. Okay, and Jesse's second question. Is there a difference between Harrison Starkey and Richard George in guys? I mean, if someone showed you a panel with one of them in it, obviously before the end of Rick's story, would you be able to tell them apart? Or was that the entire joke? Sometimes you can tell them apart, and sometimes you can't. Harrison Starkey, if I recall, is the George Harrison Beatle, and Richard George is the Ringo Beatle. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. Let me just do a quick check on that. Yes, if you look at Rick's story, page 231, and they're returning to the bar, and it's it's Bear and Marty and Richard George. That's definitely Ringo. And major high fives to Ringo Starr for looking as good as he does now for a guy who just turned 84 on the 7th. 84? No, 85. He was born in 1940, July 7th, and 85 years old. And this was me drawing, okay, I think this is where Ringo's going to end up. And if Ringo ends up there, he's running out of time to end up there. I don't. He says that daily prayer and meditation is one of the things at the top of his list. So definitely on the prayer side, that's going to help. That's going to help a lot. So yeah, I can usually tell Richard George and Harrison Starkey apart. Although, if you look at that was part of the joke of the Beatles in 1964. You couldn't tell them apart. They all had the same hair, like girls, and they all had the same basic features. And it's like, well, there's a difference between a teenager and a senior citizen that no, we could tell them apart pretty quickly. That's Paul, that's John, that's George, and that's Ringo. It was uh, sort of a litmus test in the 1960s. If you couldn't tell them apart, you're too old, which came as an awful shock to everybody in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who thought they were still young and hip. Not really a question per se, but were you aware of the latest Steve Ditko Indiegogo campaign? This one being done not by Robin Snyder, but by Mort Todd and Steve's nephew, Mark. I considered backing it, but since I hadn't heard the biggest Ditko fan I know, namely you, mention it, I've refrained from looking more into it. What do you know about it, if anything? I'm Sergeant Schultz on that one. I know nothing. But my overall impression is the more Steve Ditko, the better, and that includes anything that Mort Todd and Mark Ditko would be doing, anything Robin Snyder's doing, or anything anybody else could be doing. I think the criteria is to keep the quality as high as possible, and I would hope that there would be a level of cooperation that would take place there. Anybody doing Steve Ditko and preserving Steve Ditko's work and making it available for Steve Ditko fans, major thumbs up there. And let's have, please, major thumbs up all the way around, and no antagonism between whoever is keeping Steve Ditko's memory alive. Um, Even so far as I would hope that there would be a level of cooperation um, between the groups. If there's flaws in the quality on either side, and somebody knows, okay, we know how to fix that, then I think the proper thing to do when you're preserving a creator's work is to cooperate. Let's, here's some suggestion that I can make. If you don't want the suggestions, that's fine. I'm just offering them as suggestions that I think would improve what you're doing. If you don't think it would improve what you're doing, that's up to you. Again, let's keep ego out of it. Let's keep antagonism out of it. Let's keep conflict out of it. The more Steve Ditko, the better, all the way around. And thank you to you, Jesse, for continuing to do the transcripts of Please Hold for Dave Sim. That's a mammoth amount of work, and it's it's going to make one heck of a spider womping volume someday, or several spider womping volumes if you ever get to that point. I hope you enjoy the stuff I sent you. You should get it in early July. Nothing from you yet, Jesse, that rings a bell. Could be USPS and Canada Post problem. Could be you just got better things to do with the nice weather being here. In which case, you go with that. But I will look forward to seeing whatever it is that you send. Christon Hunwardson checks in. Ola Manley, Dave, first to share some random information with you on June 26th, 2025, a CGC 9.2 graded copy of Cerebus number 1 sold at auction on Heritage for $12,600 US, plus many more additional fees, no doubt. This may not provide any financial benefit for you, but hopefully still has some rewarding meaning. Personally, I find it very exciting. Yes, Dave Sim is still cool. Well, I appreciate the sentiment, Christon, and yes, I've always looked at it as the free market is gonna tell you how any individual artist is doing while he's alive and after he's dead, and that's going to be a measurement of it. And 12,600. That's certainly not something that I thought I would see happen with a non-Dave Sim file copy, but there it is. It happened with a non-Dave Sim file copy. Now for my actual question. I recently purchased a nice group of Cerebus comics. While going through them, I noticed issue 164 was a second printing. This was displayed right on the front cover. How common was this within the original 300 issue run? My feeling is this was probably rare, and I am pretty happy about finding it. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you as well, Christon. There were second printings of Cerebus 151, 152, and I think 153, where because we were starting a new storyline and retailers were just ordering what they needed with maybe one or two copies over, that wasn't working really well with the new storylines. And 151 was, of course, the beginning of the mothers and daughters storyline. So we did go back to print, and we did let everybody know, okay, it's going to say second printing on the front, but if you didn't get a 151 because people were deciding to try Cerebus for the first time, here's what we can do on our end. 164 had a second printing, and I believe 165 had a second printing. And that, I think, was because of the Sandman parody. That was, okay, didn't tell anybody I was going to do a parody of Sandman, did a parody of Sandman. Every retailer got caught with their pants down as a result. Thanks a lot, Dave. Well, okay, I can't go back and fix that, and I didn't want to give away a story point ahead of time, but understood. Anything that's got swoon in it, the Sandman parody, we're gonna do a second printing on that, and I don't remember how large the second printings were, but I think 164 in particular was, we did that, but we overdid that. There was demand, but it wasn't as much demand as we thought. So 164 second printings were actually the ones that I offered free for everybody on Neil Gaiman's Twitter account. I think it was Twitter account. Anybody writing an actual letter saying that they were interested and mailing it to me would get a free copy of Cerebus number 164 with Swoon in it. And I've still got, over at the storage unit, boxes of mail that came in as a result. The unprecedented Neil Gaiman Sandman effect that was completely unpredictable. And of course, here we are now where, okay, those have all been scattered to the four winds. And yes, Christon, you probably have something quite rare there. You could try advertising for Cerebus 164 second printings, and I think you'd probably get a crickets chirping reaction. Okay, that'll do it for Please Hold for Dave Sim. August, I think. This should do us for August. If this doesn't do us for August, then we'll just keep knocking this stuff on ahead. But we'll make sure that everybody who wants an answer to their question gets an answer to their question. So thank you, as always, Matt, for hosting this insanity. And best wishes to you and Paula and Janice Pearl and Bullwinkle and Bonnie and Clyde and Buddy. There's one more name. Okay, well, I got a pretty good score on that one. Anyway, we will see you next month for Please Hold for Dave Sim, August.